Hey everybody, it's Dr. Stephanie Rimka with Brain and Body Solutions. So I told you we were going to be doing a live on, live 19 channel QEEG. This is with my nephew Kyle, and they do live in Michigan. Is that too loud? Okay. So we're in my office on a Saturday. We're not here really very much, but we did some special stuff because my sister drove in. So my sister did a long drive from Detroit yesterday and picked up a little bit of a fever, so she's not in her best state, but she is willing to still go on camera for a brief moment to kind of say hi. She's still gorgeous and still full of energy, but she's not feeling great. But we're working on it. She spent the night on the biomat. She's getting her electricity pulsed into her blood right now. I have her on the device for that. She's been drinking colloidal silver, and we're doing some other things. So I'm going to get her well so she can have a great time in Florida, but well, come follow me. Are we good? I've never had somebody else hold the camera, so this is new. Okay, so she's gonna cough. But I don't know if you can kind of see the new office a little bit. You can kind of see, so we did a little bit of a redesign, and I've built up closed office walls. This is where Jeff Reich, one of our neurofeedback therapists, is, and he's in there with Kyle right now. And then this is the retail space where pretty much you only carry the most important, most significant, high-quality pharmaceutical grade things. I'm not going to waste your time or your money with supplements that don't work and you don't need to be taking. We're very specific and we're very efficient here, focusing primarily on brain disorders and how that relates to the gut. Let's see. Let's go find Kim. Follow me over here. So this is Kim. Stand up real fast. So this is my sister Kim.
Hello.
She's not feeling great. Is the camera, are we good? All right. So pretty much kind of what this story, no, don't let them see that. No, we can't have that on. So I have a few little laws and regulations on what's going on with the healing device, but you need to contact me directly to get more information on what that is. But I'm using it to purify her blood right now and kill all the viruses and pathogens that are causing this fever. So she's going to be good to go by tonight. But my sister is a mother of two kids, two spectacular kids, Lindsay and Kyle. Kyle is here now. Lindsay is gallivanting in, what country is she in now?
She's in Australia.
She is in Australia. She is doing some amazing volunteer mission work, helping people all over the world. So she's out there right now getting ready for her next trip. Kyle is turning 20.
He turns 20 in a few weeks, yes.
Right. So, do you remember what you said to me at the Christmas party years ago? Many, many, many years ago?
Oh, in regards to neurofeedback,
yeah.
I do. The neurofeedback was probably the most profound change that I saw in Kyle almost instantly. Like, I would take him in, he was 8, 9 years old when he was undergoing his first round of neurofeedback treatment. And he had a lot of anxiety, and in 15, 20 minutes of a session, I could just physically watch his anxiety just disappear from his body. No stimming, he could sit there calmly. It was a huge, huge change. At the time, he was also doing a lot of biomedical interventions. He was on at one time 51 supplements a day. And I didn't see nearly the dramatic improvement as I did with the neurofeedback, so I turned all my energies into that.
And what was the other big piece you did?
Changing his diet was very instrumental.
Because we had to go after the gut. The gut inflammation was causing continual toxicity and continual brain inflammation. And it took quite a few years for me to get her to go to the full tilt of what I needed her to do. And so, you know,
right.
Kim really understands the resistance a parent can go through, how hard you think it's going to be, all the emotional reasons, all the excuses, all the fear. And once she finally did it,
it was dramatic. In 6 months, he was a different child. Absolutely different. I mean, nothing short of miraculous. He went from living in his bedroom pretty much all the time. He would only come out to eat when he had problems with his father. So if his father was home, he wouldn't come out of the room. He would sit in his room and eat on the floor. It was an awful time.
Even to the point he wouldn't go to the bathroom. And
there was a time when he wouldn't even come out and use the bathroom.
So he had to use it somewhere in his bedroom.
He was, yes, peeing in a backpack because he thought that was a receptacle that would hold it.
For him to handle.
Right.
He was so tormented physically inside and had to go so inside himself, he could not interact with the outside world. I think the only person he was selectively mute for quite some time.
He was, yeah.
Except for you.
Me and his sister. Mm-hmm.
That was it. That was his, so she even did the extreme of pulling him out of school completely. That was the choice she needed to make and could do, so she could fully control this diet and go after the diet and the neurofeedback the way we needed to address it. And what's kind of spawned from that, from miraculous things, and her finally saying this statement, that was a aha moment, boom, I'm done, how do I learn neurofeedback? So people always ask, how'd you get into this? My sister. It's her fault, you can blame her. And what she then did with it, she didn't become a neurofeedback therapist, she went into the health field, and she is a massage therapist in Michigan, so she's in the greater Detroit area, and I'm going to put her contact information in the comment area, how to reach her. But she works on particularly anybody, any kind of stress, anxiety, but the mothers and the families of autistic children, and I think 2 nights a week you work on autistic children.
Do, yes.
She specializes in working on your actual children, starting out, I think, a lot with the feet, with the reflexology.
Correct.
So she talks to the organ systems and the brain through the feet, and getting kids to go from that never can be touched to where they collapse on the massage table and they run in and can't wait. So your child who can't be touched, who can't hug you, suddenly is like, oh yes, and learning to love and touch as she slowly learns to communicate with them through their body to reassess their brains. And she also, I'm doing all the talking because she's not feeling well. She then said, I'm going to help people with the diet because I know what it's like. It took me 5 years to really do what you need. I just kept pieces and pieces, and I'm like, you're not seeing the results because you're not doing the full thing. If you keep letting things sneak in, you keep doing it, it's not going to work. And then once you do it, it's so much easier. And you became healthy, he doesn't get sick, he doesn't get infections, right? So she's specializing in taking families through the chain. How do you go through in a realistic way with whatever budget you have? And if that means she's got to come into your house and clean out your kitchen and your cupboard, that she's got to go shopping, you can hire her to do all that, or just consulting on the simple solutions to kind of make this really work for families, real families. But then how do you help heal your children with the GAPS diet, gluten-free, casein-free, allergies, whatever. From a mom's perspective, from knowing how to shop, whether that's a Myers budget, if you're in Michigan, right, or a Whole Foods budget, or a CSA. She joined a CSA and actually took her kids farming with her, grew their own food for years so she could get, and found the way, how can I afford to get organic food? Because I can't afford to do that at the other way. So how am I going to do what I can do with what I have? That's what she's good at helping you figure out. So she took and said, okay, the diet and the neurofeedback. So she does the diet, I do the neurofeedback. I've been trying to lure my sister down to Atlanta for, I don't know, a lot of years. She's not coming. She's not coming. But she's got her life and her stuff up in Michigan. And she's staying there. And my mother's happy because she got her grandbabies. But that's what's going on. So those are the pieces that we do. And I'm going to put the information. But she's a family coach to help families. She's a coach and a consultant for families on the spectrum. She's also an ILS practitioner. So one of our therapies we do, integrated listening therapy. We have that for Kyle as well. So I went ahead and said, you need to get fully trained in it so you can help families go through that. So she's got a wealth of information for all you folks in Detroit, and she's got me in her back pocket. So whenever you got a question, you're kind of getting me at the same time because I'm going to help her with every case. I help her all the time if she's got a question. Okay? She's not doing functional testing. She's the real life, how do I feed them? GAPS diet coaching. Come in and show you all the mistakes you're making. And it's how we've helped take Kyle to a certain place. And now there's been some things in life and things have changed. And she went through a divorce and, life changed. She couldn't afford a lot of the stuff he was on for years. It all had to stop. All supplements stopped. All different types of food things. Still on the diet, but I gotta this is what I can afford. Her life has changed now. Now we've got some more resources, so we're doing a lot of testing on him now, doing a fresh new map, a lot of labs and urine tests. I'm going to go over that stuff with her privately, and we're going to put him on a whole repair, detoxification, healing, so we're going to upgrade him again, over the next little bit of time. We're going to go in for, he's getting a full sauna, we're going to detox him in all the ways, and we'll keep you updated. But let's go over to meet Jeff. So you want to say anything else? Did I miss anything else? Okay, great. Go lay down.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so you come over here. Everybody, this is Jeff.
Hello, how are you?
And this is my nephew. Can you say hi, Kyle? We're doing a little video. If you don't want to, you don't have to. He's good. We'll skip it.
We're just going to pause this for a second so we can talk to the camera.
Yeah.
Good. Right now we're putting on what's called a surgical EEG cap, and it's 19 channels of EEG recording where we go ahead and take a look at his brain waves. And it's just a regular EEG cap that a neurologist or some surgical person would use. And it's a really simple procedure. We fill each of these holes with electrogel, which is inductive, and we filled them up with this blunt-edged squirt gun. That's what I call it. And then what I'm doing now is I'm making sure we're getting good contact from each electrode to the scalp with an impedance meter. And I'm just getting the impedance down. So we go through each site, and I kind of put the squirt gun in there, and I wiggle. And then when my number is suitable, I go on to the next one.
And as he finishes up with that, I'll let you know, I forget how long you've been here, but Jeff and I are we have a great time. We're a great team. We have a third neurofeedback therapist that's here part-time as we get full to help handle some of our overflow. Lee Holbrook, and a lot of you are familiar with her from years ago. She's been with me off and on for a long time. She's more of a tech. So Jeff and I are both BCNs. We're both board-certified neurofeedback. He also just passed a really big test.
That's the QEEG diplomat test.
Yeah, so he's a diplomat now in reading this raw EEG. With a lot of people can't do this. I can't do it. He's one of our little specialists at doing that. How many are you guys? How many of there are?
It's probably 40 or 50 in the country.
That's about it. So we do some special stuff here with a lot of experience. The two of us together, I probably say, I think it's averaging about 20 years experience you get with us. If not more at this point.
What's really great here is I've worked in learning disabled schools and addiction centers, and working with Stephanie, this is the first place I've ever worked where we can deal with both what's called soup and sparks. So I'm dealing with the electricity in the brain, and Stephanie deals not only with the electricity, but with the chemical reactions and the metabolism and the vitamins, the supplements, the neurotransmitters. So we kind of have both things covered. And when Terry turns the camera on herself, you'll see that we have the third tier in here, which is the psychological. So we're kind of a complete brain center now, and it's exciting.
Yeah, we got a PhD psychologist on board, so we do a lot of stuff. Let me scoot out of your way.
This is the amplifier that amplifies those brain waves, which are measured in a millionth of a volt. So you can imagine this is what's called a brain master discovery. It's FDA approved medical device, one of only a few. They can actually use it for surgery and for sleep studies and things that are commonly used with EEG. So it's a very precise instrument. So I plug that in here, and that's how we start recording brain waves. And now I'm going to go over here to our computer, and we can take a look at what Kyle's brain looks like via his EEG. This is probably the most modern of softwares out there now. It's called the Brain Master Brain Avatar 1.0, or 4.0 rather. It's the fourth iteration. And all I have to do is hit the go button.
I'm going to let him have a little bit of nuts right now until you get, just a couple, just a little handful, okay? And then he's going to record. He's going to check it.
Okay, and here's a picture of Kyle's EEG. If you want to see what the EEG looks like when you eat nuts, Kyle is eating nuts, and that's his brain telling his mouth to chew.
So that's a bunch of static and noise. This is why we need people when we do it to be still.
So you really can't be eating or chewing gum while you're doing this.
So after that one, Kyle, we're going to pause you. And Jeff's going to check all the signal, okay? So after you swallow this one, you're going to stop eating, okay? Just hold on.
Okay, if you want, let's if you can get him here's a tissue, and let's just put those over here, Kyle. Just save this for you over here. And if you can be really still, let me see what your EEG looks like. In fact, you could be watching it, so I'm going to put this over here so you can see. Okay, and that's your brain. Go ahead and blink your eyes a few times. That's what your brain looks like when you blink your eyes. Actually, it's something called eye artifact. Go ahead and grit your teeth and growl like a tiger. Go, grrr. Can you do that, Kyle? Go, grrr.
Hurts my throat.
Okay, then we won't do that. Let's see what it looks like when you close your eyes. Close your eyes and pretend like you're sleeping. Don't squeeze them shut. Just kind of let them stay closed. Good. Okay, that's excellent. Okay, let me go ahead and fix the ears. The ear reference is a little bit rough.
So when we notice things on the raw EEG, if things are looking like it's not a good connection or it's muscle tension, and so he saw that right away, we're going to fix it down in that one area. Sometimes it vibrates from the pulse of the jugulars. Sometimes the cap might be too tight. We have to adjust things. Sometimes people just have a lot of tension, and then they're clenching their jaws a lot, and then we're picking up tension, particularly right in these locations off the temporals. I think we're going to let you just work, Jeff.
Okay, very good.
So what he's going to end up doing is recording some eyes closed time, and then recording some eyes open time. And then you want to explain just briefly what you do with that information when you're all done?
Sure. Once we record the information, we run it through software that analyzes it for it or turns it into brain maps, and then spend a couple hours looking it over and comparing it to other databases and making sure there's no seizure activity or any kind of infarcts or tumors or anything like that.
And infarct means some dead tissue. Okay. Yeah. That might happen after TIA or a stroke. All right.
Okay.
We'll let you guys do it. You all right, Kyle? All right. So we're going to let them do their work. We're going to do our work. If you have any questions, you guys can ask me down there. But I'm going to give Kim's information to you because she's up in Metro Detroit. You know, I don't forget where, I'm not going to say where she lives and where she works. She works out of, Kim, where are you? Like Clinton Township or something? Sterling Heights.
And Clinton Township.
In Clinton Township. See, I'm normal. I'm East Side 313, so some of these new places I get confused at this point. Detroit keeps growing. We're, of course, in Midtown Atlanta, 30307 area code. But that's a brain map, and at least part of the process. If it doesn't hurt, we can get anybody to do it. You know, we've had 3-year-olds on the spectrum. It takes a little bit more work, but we can do it. It might take a few visits to get them feeling comfortable in here. That's about it. So a lot of people want to know what we do, why to get into it. This is why I got into it. And this is why my sister does what she does. It's why I do what I do. And we have a great time with it. So that's one part of what the office does with neurotherapies and how we assess that information, getting this kind of baseline, because Kyle isn't going to train here. They don't live here, but we are getting a big baseline kind of where he is right now. 2 of his therapists, his main neurofeedback therapist, one, unfortunately, Mary St. Clair, she did pass away, and Dr. Brown has kind of moved far away and is kind of part-time up in Michigan. So we got to find him a place that I think is really qualified up in near them, but he'll have this baseline information. Plus, I can get all this metabolic information. You can flip it if you want, but I got to close the door. So I can use this information to help assess what I need to do and what kind of tests I need to order to find out all his metabolic function. So some people just come in and we do a big intake and I get this, and they aren't going to train. They're more of a metabolic candidate, and I can tell that when I look at the map. And some people, I've heard many neurofeedback therapists, they just train everybody all the time, no matter what. And it's been a little bit shocking to me. We'll refer to somebody, I just did refer somebody to a diplomat in neurology, a chiropractor, and that was the take of, well, everybody does neurofeedback. And we're like, why would you do that? Because I can tell you that kid's brain isn't going to respond because they're so low powered, they're so malnourished, they're in such a major an endocrine disruption. I need to go in there and look at that hypothalamus and that pituitary and the entire chain of what's going on before to set them up so the neurofeedback is successful. It's like I wouldn't, if somebody came to me who was anorexic, I don't start training them for a Tough Mudder race. I have to feed them. I have to replenish them, and that would start foundationally. I don't make them do more work. I build them before I start adding muscle, right? So the brain is kind of similar. I have to see, is this going to be, what's the best way to take them? Sometimes we just go ahead and we do both. Sometimes I go, oh no, I have to have that thyroid disorder handled first because alpha will not respond to that. And it seems like a lot of people don't address that part, and it's why it's kind of a hit or miss. I like to make sure I'm as successful with you as possible, because people walking out of here telling everybody how much better they feel, how much better their kids are doing, how they're off their medication, how they sleep better, how they don't have panic attacks anymore. That's my commercial. So I make sure we're going to set you up to be well. But this is just a baseline, and we do this a lot of times pre and post on athletes. So if your kid's playing football, particularly high school and college, getting a baseline map pre-season, so we have it, so we see what it is. So if they get a concussion, we can do one immediately after and see what's going on and help them with the post-concussive suggestions on diet and what to do. And then within a month or so, we might need to train them. But it's a great thing, and we offer that at a very discounted rate for football teams. Jeff is dying to get a whole high school team. I mean, we would love to have a whole pre-team. And so concussions are a real big problem in sports right now. Girls soccer is the second leading, so boys football in America and then girls soccer, the most number of concussions. It's bad. So this is a really great tool to see what do they look like before, what happens in that concussion, that brain inflammation, that dead brain tissue, and then how quickly are they recovering, and are they going to need neurofeedback after that. We don't even start the neurofeedback. Usually it's 4 to 6 weeks after. We have to let all that swelling go down. But we go in there with nutrition, very specific nutrition information to help prevent as much crisis and energy. It's a energy crisis situation when you bruise your brain, and we have to get the right things in there so things don't die. But anyway, that's an aside. So that's a lot of stuff that the QEEGs are used for. Peak performance, people just wanting to be better, getting a better IQ, be calmer, solving a problem, making more connections. So we're going to see what Kyle's doing and how I can best help him and direct the therapist up in Michigan to do, what we think would be the most helpful. All right. So I'll put info in the comments, and you guys have a great Saturday.